Hello, friends, and happy new year 2026. We are here. This is the first episode. This is the first episode of 2026. Very
Here we're on
excited.
video, right?
And we're on video. The people can see us. Don't look at the pictures that I still haven't hung up almost a year.
Yeah.
a year
Now we
later.
got live fucking
Shit. God damn it. Oh, friends. Well, welcome to Play Along, a video game book club where we play through games. And in today's episode, we are starting our very first book club game for 2026, playing through 1000xRESIST, going through the first 3 chapters of that game. I'm very excited to get into it. I'm your host, Jared. I'm joined with Kai and Benji as always. Happy New Year, guys. It's not New Year's for us, but it's New Year's for the listeners, for the lovers at home. Yeah,
we're mid-December. We're almost there. If you're rounding up in the month, we're technically, in January, theoretically.
closer to New Year than we are.
Hopefully all the world's problems have been solved.
2026, there's no problems anymore.
It's going to be a great year, not like 2025, which was an absolute fucking dumpster fire. So
I feel like in the last couple of years, January has been a historically bad year for the world. So.
Yeah, it's not great.
It's it's even more ironic is this episode goes up on January 6th, which is even funnier.
Our own there might be an insurrection of this podcast depending on how these opinions go for this game.
So far, there's a lot of themes of like authority and listening to one figure.
We're gonna have the that guy with horns come and stand outside of our podcast.
The Capital Shaman.
Yeah, the Capital Shaman. Thank you. Yes, who I believe
am I missing a reference? That's
he did take a shit on Nancy Pelosi's desk, didn't he?
Yeah. Huh? Yeah, Capital Shaman.
He was like
Jacob the QAnon shaman.
That was it, the QAnon shaman.
Okay.
He was like the dude.
He seems like a big 1000xRESIST fan.
I don't know about that. This man looks like he wouldn't poke 1000xRESIST with a 5-foot pole.
I don't know.
He would say, "This game woke. I don't like game. Women,
too many women.
Gross.
Too many women. Technically,
women are bad.
Just one woman.
Oh,
well,
definitely.
Sort of. A couple, but mainly just one woman over and over and over and over again.
Only just one. But yeah, how you guys doing? You guys doing good? We're almost to the holidays. Time of recording. Christmas is this coming week, which is crazy. It kind of just like snuck up on me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know Ben's a Christmas hater, so it's okay. It's okay. People know that about you.
I'm feeling less and less the Christmas spirit as I age.
So many people have been saying that. Like Sarah's been telling me that it just doesn't feel like Christmassy vibes this year for some reason, and it's like that's. Do you know? I don't want to lose my little Christmas sparkle.
I'm all about the community and the getting together and everything. Right. I'm not so much about like the gifts and like you got me a gift, so I have to get you a gift and like that side of stuff. In my world, like in an ideal world, Christmas would resolve around everybody spending the money they would spend on Christmas presents on food and sitting
or a trip, like going somewhere together too.
Yeah,
like travel and like create some memories and everything.
More food for me, but yeah,
I have been daily vacuuming up
pine
7
needles.
million pine needles, which really does.
A real tree?
Oh yeah, my wife refuses to have a fake tree. Not only do I have a real tree, I have a 10-foot real tree that has fallen over twice. That I had
cats touched it yet or not yet?
Oh yeah. There are so many vomited up pine needles and broken ornaments, and just every day is a journey into the just that. So it's really taking away from my Christmas experience this unending problem that just exists in my living room. So
you know what's strange is like growing up, I've always had cats in my life, but when we've had a fake tree, they've always fucked with the fake tree. And then when Kai and I lived together and we had our real tree, then our 2 cats at the time, I don't remember mess with it. I mean, I remember Boomy as a kitten playing with the dangly ornaments, which is normal. But this year, other than sleeping underneath the tree, both Boomy and Jinx don't care about it. Jinx was like nibbling on it at the bottom a little bit and ripping stuff off, but no climbing in the tree.
It's really the pairing of a kitten with the tree. And it's not
a tree cat.
You're not a tree cat, buddy? Just knocked out over there. Well, imagine Buddy, but in Kai's instance, imagine like 4 more of them. And at some point, they probably
and
start
really, it's just... Go for it.
No, go. I was just going to say, like you said, it's the fact you have a kitten.
Yeah.
That's
really likes biting the lights and then shattering them in his mouth. He finds that feeling very satisfying, which then little shards of plastic, I'm sure, in his body. There's nothing I can do to stop it. And then also the way the Christmas lights work is if you remove one of them, so the entire bottom of our tree is no longer illuminated. You just bit through dozens of tiny little plastic lights. So
do you think it's too late? Like if you do fake tree next year, do you think it's too late? They've already associated tree with like, let's have a good time, or
I will never win that battle, Jared.
Think how much money you'll save on Christmas trees every year.
God, dude. I could buy for the amount I've spent on this dumbass tree this year, I could buy 5. We could have a Christmas tree in every room. Jesus Christ. I think I'm like $800 deep on this Christmas tree at this point.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I had to buy a special drill with a special drill bit so that I could drill the bottom of the tree so I could actually get it to fucking stay on the stand. This has been an insane fucking experience.
Oh, no wonder your Christmas vibes have been fucked recently.
That's a whole yearly subscription to Streamlabs.
Yes, I know.
Priorities, Kai. Priorities.
That I have to figure out how to then take a 10-foot tree and cut it down and throw it away somehow. Which
that was don't get me wrong. I loved the vibes of a real tree, right? It gave that natural, like Christmassy smell and everything. When we had to get rid of it that one year, I was like, okay, nope, we're doing fake tree. It's better. It's less messy. Let's just do fake tree. And then we have it. Now we can use it every year until it ultimately perishes.
Yeah. Anyway, this is not about my tree woes.
Welcome to the Christmas tree podcast.
Also, this is in January, so nothing
that's true.
Prescient than me bitching about it.
January 5th.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I bet some of you out there, I bet you still have your Christmas tree up first week of January. It's still there. Lord. I know it's still there.
I can tell you my for Christmas a fact. Mine's going down
December 26th. Also, I was watching a YouTuber and he kind of does this, which got me curious of what are you guys doing while you're listening to our podcast? Are you driving to work? Are you doing the dishes? We're on video now. Do you have us up on a second monitor while you're working? Let us know.
Please
I usually do podcasts like driving to work and everything too. So
yeah, do let us know. Actually, be interesting.
Yeah. Are you in the shower listening to
Gross.
Gross. I would be honored if someone's like, I bathe while listening to you guys. And
people who listen to stuff in the shower, that's some weird shit.
Really?
You should not be in the shower long enough to have content.
Oh, bro, my shower is like at least 15 minutes. Like at least.
Yeah, I was like, mine's the same way. Like I'm getting the schwitz in there.
What
are
you doing?
Yeah. I'm decompressing from the day, you know?
You're just fiddle-faddling with yourself in there? I don't understand.
Do you know what it is?
Sure,
like,
but...
You know how, like, coffee in the morning becomes, like, ritualistic, right? That's kind of like me and showers. Like, a shower for me, like, I shower in the evening before I go to bed.
See, I'm a night shower.
That's like my decompression sort of like, I'm like, right, okay. Like,
Ben
let's wash all the shit off.
Wash your sins away.
I don't disagree with any of the takes. It's the duration of the shower. I'll go in the shower. I'll wait for it to get hot. It'll take like 30 seconds. I'm in there. I wash my face. I wash my body. 2 minutes. What else am I doing?
Don't get me wrong. I've done a 2-minute shower, but I've definitely done like a 30+ minute shower before as well.
Yeah, I've 100% done.
My fingers are like wrinkly after my shower.
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't understand. Man. I don't understand long showers. I don't know what you're doing.
I do all the cliche movie things. You know, both hands against the wall, head under the shower head.
Okay. You know what? Different strokes for different folks. Tell us in the comments or on the Discord. Long shower, short shower.
You know? Question of the day.
Question of the day.
We'll do a poll on Spotify.
Yeah, we'll do a poll on Spotify. So, but yeah, as you guys can probably see as you're watching, or if you don't know, that we are now doing videos for our podcast. So if you want to see our beautiful little faces and maybe gameplay, maybe other things, I don't know the extent of what the videos are going to be yet. But
we don't even know. We don't even know if this will be a video.
Nope. We're doing video.
It will be a video.
This will never get.
We're doing it. We have to commit. We've committed before, and then we kind of fell off, so we got to commit.
Jared did start saying before this podcast that he didn't know whether or not this would be a video, but now he's very firmly in that this will be a video camp. So
Nah, it'll be a video. It'll be a video for sure. But youtube.com/playalong. You can check it out us out there. Or if you're on Spotify has video podcasts as well. So you can check out both of our video versions of the show there. So, check that out.
If you really love us, watch both at the same time. Really give us that double engagement.
Yeah, when you go to bed at night or when you're taking your shower, just turn on the video and then just put the volume down and then just let it run, baby. Maybe multiple times if you're feeling crazy,
Yep. And if you don't have internet, but somehow are on our Discord, if you send me your address, I'll mail you a copy of the video.
We'll burn our podcast episodes as CDs.
I'll put it on a CD and I'll mail it to you. We'll do Play Along Podcast Netflix 2005. You can rent up to 2 episodes at a time.
That sounds silly, but that's kind of funny. If it was like you can look through our catalog and be like, "Oh, Firewatch, oh, Super Mario RPG Episode 9. I'm gonna pick that for this month. I'm gonna get my DVD in the mail. I'm gonna watch my play along."
God, imagine waiting 4 weeks to hear us like shit on the Super Mario RPG.
Oh man. Okay, let's do a little tiny bit of housekeeping and we'll jump into this episode. Whether this is your first episode or your 290th episode. We're creeping up to episode 300, boys. We're getting close. We're getting there.
Welcome to Play. We're gonna do a live watch along of the movie 300 with commentary. That's for 300 episodes.
Oh, for 300 episodes. I was like, why 300? 300 episodes. I get it. Welcome to Play Along, a video game book club where we play through games. What we do here is the 3 of us will each take turns picking a game. We then play through that. What?
There's a game of the movie 300.
Yo,
or PSP. We're gonna saying it now. We are playing 300 March to Glory for a 300 episode.
95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. So that would be it's gonna be like March something. Okay, I'm down.
All right,
fuck it. Why not?
Play the PSP 300 for our 300th episode.
Yes, it's also on Android apparently, so that's interesting.
Oh, okay, that's weird. I just emulate it.
Press X to Spartan kick.
Press X to Spartan kick. But yeah, we each take turns picking a game and then we play through it here, come together and talk about all sections, speculate, talk about our feelings about the game, and go through them section at a time. The other main series we do on the show is called Get Wrecked, where we grab a guest from the internet and swap video game recommendations. This month's episode in January, I'm going to be joined by a friend of the show, Chazzy. If you don't know Chazzy, he runs Side Project Podcast. He does so many things. Music. He does video, photography. He's big in the cosplay world and everything too. So I'm glad that I was able to get him onto the show. We're about we record about a month ahead or so. So we're still working on the games, but the game that he recommended is called Black and White. For PSP, for PC, not Pokemon Black and White, but Black and White. I'm trying to see when this game came out.
It came out in 2001.
Yeah, and it looks wild. You play like a god controlling the animals of the world and the universe and stuff. And he was like, I played it as a kid and it's wild and I think you should play it. So I'm excited. I haven't jumped into it yet, but it looks insane.
This looks crazy.
Yeah, I know.
These graphics are insane.
2001 PC.
It looks
game, baby.
It looks like a RuneScape mod. Wild.
Maybe that's how it started. A Norse village. Large houses support more villagers. Yeah. So I don't know what I'm recommending him at the moment, but that's at least what we're going to be talking about, which is exciting. But stay tuned to all of our socials, Instagram, Blue Sky, and jump in the Discord if you want to follow along with our video game book club as well. You can jump on to 1000xRESIST. I've seen it discounted a lot recently, and at the time of recording, it's the winter sale is still going on, which I think was funny is as this episode comes up, I think the winter sale ends like the day before or something. Yep. Oh, it ends today, January 5th. Oh, it is the day before. This is going up the 6th. Well, but if you haven't bought 1000xRESIST, it's super on sale during the winter season, so it's the perfect time to jump in and play along with us. If not, I see the game going on sale a lot, so just check out for a sale. I don't think the game is too much. I think it's what, $20 normally?
It's $20, yeah. It's $13.99 right now, but it's $20 normally.
Also check loaded.com because I think Kai and I got it for what, like $2, $1.90 or something when that sale was going on.
It was super cheap.
Yeah, super cheap. So stay tuned to that if you want to play along with us. And again,
it's $1.29 on Loaded right now.
Oh, there you go. So just go into the future or the past, buy it, and then go back into the future. Time travel's weird. No, it's fine. But with that, we're going to take a small little music break. And when we come back, we're going to jump into the beginning of of 1000xRESIST. See you guys in a second. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back from the break. Hopefully you enjoyed the fun music that I played. Don't know what music is going to play, but it's going to be good. It's going to be great regardless. If you missed our last episode, and especially if you are new to our show, be sure to go check it out. It actually got split into 2 parts. It was our video game tier list where we went through and ranked all of our games that we've played for the podcast. 2026 marks 5 years of our show, which is incredible and crazy at the same time. We're super grateful for all you listeners. We've also played a ton of video games during that time, and we had an absolute blast recording almost 5 hours of ranking those games, which was why it got split up into 2 parts. So if you're starting here and you want to know kind of the stuff that we've played, that is a good episode to start on, because again, we go through and kind of, talk about anecdotes around the games that we were playing at that time, some of our feelings, some games that we completely forgot that we've even covered, like Frog Fractions. So it's a good time. So be sure to go and check out both of those episodes if you haven't.
Yeah, definitely should. 67 games.
67 games, which it feels like a lot. It doesn't feel like a lot at the same time.
Yeah.
What was the math guide? Just like, it was like 1.5 games a month for the last 5 years is kind of what it boiled down to.
2.1 games a month for the last 5 years. Yeah.
Crazy.
Which I guess is not that bad. Like beating 2 games a month for 5 years is pretty, like, it's a pretty good like flow. Like that's not bad.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But yes, like I said, today we are starting off talking about the intro sections of 1000xRESIST. If you don't know, what we usually do at the beginning of playing a new game for the book club is we kind of go around and engage our own experience and history with the game prior to playing for the podcast. Ben, I'm going to send this one over to you. Did you know really much about 1000xRESIST before jumping in? Had you even played it before?
No, never played it. The only thing, if I'm honest, that I knew about 1000xRESIST is that I got told it was like an anime game.
Yeah,
that was like the only thing that I really knew at first, and then heard a lot more people talking about the kind of, and I mean, this is something I'm sure we'll talk about at some point in the episode, but like they're like, what am I trying to say? I just lost my whole ass train of thought.
Oh no, I've been there.
Their like experience with the game and like the story and kind of how they resonated with it and stuff like that. And I heard a lot of really good stuff about the game as a whole and the kind of impact that it had on the people that played it. So it was on my list for a long time, and now I finally get to play it, but I don't know anything. Like, genuinely, I have no plot points whatsoever. Like, I know nothing other than it's an anime game.
Yeah. Got you in the same boat where you kind of came into this not really knowing much, or did you have like a streamer that you followed that had played? Because this game was everywhere when it had come out. Like a lot of people were streaming this game.
I've never watched a streamer play it. I looked it up when we did the indie game draft, when we were talking about that, and then I read the synopsis last week or whatever, so I had a little bit of information. Obviously, people like to glaze this game, so we'll see if it lives up to their hype. But I mean, that's
is this number 3?
Ben, stop. Don't say that. We have new people here. They don't know about our troubled past. We don't need to bring them into
it. So we'll see. That's essentially the information I read the decision,
like the
behind
Wikipedia.
Like why they made this game, what it connects to. So I have some like fundamental information about it. I'm not going in completely blind, but I definitely don't know the plot or where it's going.
Yeah, and I'm right there as well. I think I've heard enough of our indie game friends and podcasters have talked about this game where I had a general idea of what the workings were surrounding it theme-wise for the most part. Again, I didn't know exact plot points or anything, but I had seen a couple screenshots, and I've just heard people hyping up this game, talking about how incredible experience it is, and for some people, life-changing experience too. So, which we talked about before the show is hard because those opinions can sometimes affect your opinions going into something. If you expect it to be incredible, then there's a large weight looming over you when you're playing these games. Kai's playing through Expedition 33 right now. We'll check back in later. Hopefully it changes.
It's not going well, folks. Let me just say. I'm trying.
2 hours in.
He's early, and he's still
and
trying.
he's given it a real.
That is a
try.
feature film length amount of time, by the way. Just that 2 hours is a lot of time.
Yeah, but if you're 2 hours and you don't like what's happening, the stuff that you will like happens later, right? If you're 2 hours and it hooks you, then you're like, oh fuck. Like for me, 2 hours and I was like, I'm here, I'm in it.
To be honest, right? Tangent about Expedition, like it took longer than 2 hours for me. It was kind of like a snowball thing. Like as it picked up, I got more and more and more invested. But it did take like at least like 3-4 hours, I'd say, before I was kind of like, how can I say this? The moment on the cliff early in the game was kind of the moment when it clicked, and I was like, "Oh shit! Now I'm invested in this."
Yep.
Okay.
So
once again, I'm not giving up. I'll keep.
Kudos to you, man.
My college try, but no promises. I will be finishing Glare Obscure at this point.
Yeah, we're gonna have a running segment at the top of the show, which Kai's Expedition Corner, where we check in and see how the Kai Corner. We see how you've been feeling about Expedition. Okay, well, I want to start with reading. I know we did it last week, ending the tier list episode as we were talking about 1000xRESIST. Kai read the Wikipedia page, but I want to read it again here for people that don't know, just so we can get some kind of set dressing to the world that we're going to be talking about. And then I actually want to start the episode with some, we don't have to go into narrative spoilers, but just some first impressions with how the game was starting, some of the visual identity of it, because this game is very visually striking in some of the things that it's doing. Some of the things we don't have to tackle kind of everything that's happening at once, but just some first impressions. So in terms of the plot and kind of what's happening in this world, again, just going to read off the Wikipedia page here. So the backstory is presented linearly, already fucking up, throughout the game via memories and dialogue. Iris Kwan is a Canadian teenager whose parents fled the 2019-2020 Hong Kong protests and struggles to cope with the lingering trauma as an immigrant family. Sullen and indrawn, Iris lashes out at people around her, including her parents and schoolmate Zhao, a recent Chinese immigrant who looks up to Iris. In 2047, an alien race called the Occupants arrive on Earth. They appear as giant red humanoids with halos placed around their heads and spread a fatal virus that causes the body to expel water through its eyes, which, as Kai pointed out last time, is crying. Is just crying. But I think that that's a good kind of foundation of what's happening in the narrative. We're playing kind of through the eyes of Iris for the most part, and we're going back and seeing memories of how it led up to the events that we're playing through. Again, non-linearly, because we're seeing events that happened farther in the future, and then we're going past, and we can kind of there's a gameplay mechanic where we can kind of shift and jump through different histories and different points in history too. So starting this off, I want to gauge first impressions, right? We knew this kind of this plot synopsis going into it. Kai, I'm going to start with you this time.
Okay.
It wasn't for any specific reason. I started with Ben last time, so I wanted to start with you this time. Just some first impressions as you're booting it up and starting the game, and as you're playing it. Again, we don't have to get into specifics with narrative stuff.
The thing that I noticed immediately is that the environmental design is very rudimentary. It's very not polished, kind of like asset library. Like it feels like playing a mod of something. Like it's a lot of repeating assets. Like clearly their strong suit is not in environmental design and in like creating compelling spaces. I think the character design is fine, right? Like I think the cyberpunky anime Akira-esque kind of design is like, sure, it's interesting. I don't really, I think, fully understand how it connects to like the world in any meaningful way, because like you go from like completely normal, like I guess it's just supposed to represent some sort of futurism, but you go from like completely normal daily life, like in the school, to like this weird, super, sci-fi kind of design with the characters. But like the scene at the beginning where you're talking to Fixer and you're like in the like kind of entry to the train station, like it's just barren. Like there's not a whole lot going on design wise. It's just like kind of gray hallways with repeating static asset. Like it shocked me because like looking at, you know, the screenshots and stuff, like I wasn't expecting it to be quite so kind of basic, but it being basic, like it did. That was the first thing that stood out to me. I was like, whoa, like this.
Yeah.
And I actually looked it up because I was like, oh, this must be like made by one person. Because that's what I thought. I was like, oh, that makes like this looks like someone's first attempt at making something. And then I was like, oh no, there was like a whole team did this. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's interesting because I had similar thoughts, but I didn't necessarily take the rudimentary look as being something that's more negative or derogatory. Like it felt more, I guess, minimalistic. And in this kind of future setting, it felt very like hospital, sterile kind of vibe to it. And I think the lacking backgrounds made the characters more striking, right? Because I mean, like you said, it maybe the focus or
it's not that it, there's obviously an intentionality on like the
intentionality. That's the word I was
like I'm not my problem is not that it's simplistic. My problem is that it looks bad. Like there's ways to do things that feel liminal in a good way where you're like, oh, this is very stark and empty, but this is just like you can see wall panel 1, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. Like there's no texturing. There's everything is just very rigid and square, and like it gets a little bit better like when you get into the school or when you get into the house. But even then, like
the garden is what you're talking about, the main area that we kind of explore.
That whole like area that you're in is just very repetitive and basic, and like everything looks the same, which makes it very difficult to navigate and find anything where you're like, I don't know.
Also, I do love the cute like hand drawings, but like trying to figure out the map at first was very difficult to do. I was like, where am I? Ben, what about you? First impressions, do you have any similar feelings as Kai in this?
I think at first I did. Because like you said, it is very sort of minimal. But then I think as the kind of plot progressed a little bit, at first I was like, oh, okay, this is almost like a clinical institution, right? This is like a hospital or something like that, you said. And then as you were talking, I don't know why, but like a thought came into my head of like, well, yeah, like maybe Iris doesn't know how to do those things. Like, you know, not to like get into the kind of plot before we're talking about it, but like everyone that exists in this world is a clone of Iris. So in theory, they only have her knowledge. If she's not an architectural engineer or like or something like that, she may not have
the argument to that was this existed before Iris got here.
Yeah, this was built by the government.
See, that's what I was unsure of. So I was like, but then you would think that Iris would do something with it, like
change it, all the years or however long. We don't know time frame of how long she's been there since the beginning incident, or at least I didn't catch on to that. But
I don't know. You're right. It was weird. It does give this kind of, like you said, this clinical hospital setting.
To clarify once again, my issue is not the clinical setting. I think that's fine. I think that makes sense. Like obviously,
it's not done well here.
The execution of the environment is what I'm criticizing. It feels like it like an amateur did it versus like there once again there are games that do liminal really well. There are games that do like sterile and empty, and this just when I immediately got into the world, I was like, ooh, this feels very, especially for coming out in 2024. I would have a lot more like sympathy if this was like 2013.
Do you reckon there's like a plot reason? Do you reckon it's like it was put together haphazardly by the government who like were caught off guard by this disease that came along?
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
I know that's a stretch. Don't get me wrong. I know that's a stretch, but like what I'm thinking is like, you know, like when there's like some sort of like national emergency or a national response or something, like the things that the government erect aren't necessarily like nice to look at.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm able to like articulate the point, which is it's not about the design, right? Like it's not about the way that the things look. It's about how it's structurally built as far as like a game goes, right? Like it is there's a feeling that you get when you play something like that has been made from a bunch of assets that are pre-existing, where it's like there's a lack of cohesion in, because like when you're using something like an asset repository versus like you're making the art of the world, right? Like something like Scorn, everything in Scorn is the same palette, the same, you know,
like it's not a vanilla asset though,
right? It's like they made it as something that's like, okay, you know, this all shares a common theme. This feels like they just took a bunch of different assets and tried to make something with them. Like, because there's like wild transitions, right? Like the city scene where you have like this really dynamic lighting and you're running across water. Like that is a completely different aesthetic style than anything that happens in the game. And it's just like, oh, you just had these assets. You had these and you're like, okay, we're gonna make this with it. Like I just think
the other thing I was gonna say was like the scene with the street lamps where you're following Zhao or whatever, what her name was, I forget, but you're following her around. Like it is vastly different because they're like detailed to a level. There's like the walls and everything's like,
well, like the reflections off the water and everything are really cool too.
It does. I get what Kai's saying. Like, it is hard to explain how, like, it just. I think the other thing I had as well was like, I don't know about you guys, but the controlling of this character took some getting used to. I felt like the control. I felt like I wasn't as in control as I normally would be with a game. Like, I felt like when I started running, like.
Is there a deeper meaning of Watcher not being in control of her environment and
maybe stoner for some shit?
I think the character doesn't have an ass when she's standing up straight, but does have an ass when running, which I find very interesting.
Yeah, we got you to put your pussy into it, man.
Interesting observation. Yeah, I mean the narrative points which we get to were kind of my first hits, right? I thought that it was striking to start a narrative this way. It was whiplash, but not in a bad way or anything like that. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. We're already here doing some crazy shit. It was kind of like in a much more serious tone. Like, you're probably wondering how I got here, kind of like set up for the narrative.
This walkthrough says it starts in media res, which apparently means partway through a narrative.
Oh, interesting. But I like that. The other thing that took me some getting used to, which I don't, this is like a middle thought, right? I didn't like have, this wasn't terrible and this wasn't like, wow, this is amazing. Well, I just didn't expect no like mouths moving for the dialogue, which again, I don't think is a bad thing at all. I just wasn't expecting it, right? When dialogue starts happening, everything is voice acted, but there was no mouths moving. I was just like, oh, like that's not a thing that happens. And it just was something that I had to get used to. Again, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing at all, but it was just one of my first impressions of just like, oh, wasn't expecting that to be a thing.
I think something I noticed as well, going off the back of that didn't really bother me, but was just kind of like, oh, that's surprising, was how, because you get multiple options, you can choose different options. But like the shorthand that's given to you doesn't really make sense for most of, or like it's like a sentence, right? Like if you read the three of them, it forms a sentence that character would say.
Many games do this where they do a bad job of portraying what your actual choice is going to be, and then your choice is vastly different from the thing that you said.
To be fair, so far in 1000xRESIST, I don't know if this is to its credit or not, but the choices I'm making don't seem to have a crazy influence. It almost seems like you say you get three of them, and one of them progresses the conversation, and the other two kind of give you tidbits of information. It's not like a consequences
and
situation.
There'll be some instances where you just go through each one of them. Every time you do a dialogue option, it just gives you 3, and then you do one, it gives you 2, and 1, it's just going through all the dialogue options is what progresses the narrative and everything too.
I think my overall first impression of the game, I got used to it as I played more, but if I had to sum it up, and I don't mean, I don't know if this is like a derogatory thing, it felt clunky and clumsy. That's the only way I can explain it, is it didn't feel as polished as it felt like an in beta sort of game. I felt like I'd missed an update or something. Like the controls felt slightly off. The dialogue stuff wasn't like fully almost this. But then again, I don't know. That may be fucking deliberate because, like I said, if you look down the side, it forms a sentence when you look at the options you get.
And the other thing, which I know we haven't really talked about here, so I don't know if it was something that stood out, but I know that a lot of people do have in the past addressed issues with is the voice acting, the quality of the voice acting in general. And the developer from 1000xRESIST came out and talked about how they hired so many different people for this, people that were professional voice actors to just friends to do roles. So that's why the quality might change. They wanted kind of this full spectrum of voices to be a part of this too. Again, I don't know if that is even something on your forefront when you were listening to dialogue in this too, but other people have criticized it because of that.
Yeah, definitely there's some rough delivery, which
I mean, for me, knowing that going in, I didn't have a problem with dialogue at all. I was like, it's fun to hear kind of.
I mean, I didn't know that. I just thought they had bad voice actors. I would never recommend having someone who's not a voice actor voice act because they're not good. Like, once again, it's a skill. It's a thing that you can't just do. Like, you're a performer, you're an actor. Like, it's not just as simple as like reading something off a page, which is a lot of the dialogue feels dry and like reading something off of a page. Like, definitely the I think the main character is a little bit stronger than a lot of the other dialogue that's delivered, but like,
so there's a quote here, and it's talking about how the voice acting in 1000xRESIST intentionally unconventional, aiming for a more natural, subdued performance by blending professional actors with non-actors. So there was an intentionality behind this. If there's kind of a varying levels of quality for the acting, and again, it might be because I knew that going in, but like that, this felt fine for me. Like I actually think that this whole idea of a natural performance felt like it landed for me because of the varying quality of the.
I wouldn't say it didn't bother me, and this may be leaning on the intentional stuff, I don't know, but like it definitely made the main sisters much more interesting than.
Sure, they're the main cast.
Like you'll have like the main five, right? You have like Watcher and Fixer, Bang Bang, etc. Like they were much more interesting to talk to.
Sure.
Because the delivery was kind of more what you would expect from a seasoned voice actor. And I don't know, like I said, that may be a deliberate thing.
Yeah. So aside of the voice acting, one of the most difficult aspects of this game for me is the main character is an awful person. And it's really hard to.
You talk about Iris.
Iris or Watcher?
No, Iris. Watcher's.
Yeah.
Well, Watcher's the main character. That's who we play.
No, Iris is. You're experiencing Iris's life.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Right.
You are embodying Iris. Watcher is really the representation of the player. You yourself are taking the role of Watcher. Like that's what you are doing actively, but you're experiencing Iris's life. And Iris
you are a Watcher yourself.
That's what. Yeah, I think that's the point, right? That's why you play Watcher, is because you, as an audience member, are watching this experience. But Iris is a horrible person. Like, very unredeeming.
You had a problem with Iris being a horrible person?
Who, me?
No, I mean it's not a problem. It's just like, do you want me to like feel any sympathy for this person because they're just kind of an asshole who like they fucking bully Zhao, they're rude to their parents, they clearly are a selfish person. And then there's the whole section where she makes the clones and like what she does to Watcher and the rich. Like awful. She's not a good she's very villainous. There is no redeeming quality of her where you're like, oh, okay, like,
and that feels like the point to me. It's interesting because obviously we're going through Iris's journey, but it's almost like Iris is the villain. Like we're the villain in this too, right? Obviously we are clones of Iris, but I kind of liked that approach because Watcher again is the representation of the player, and they did a good job of not being like, a lot of times there'll be that like amnesiac kind of approach where the characters lose this memory, so the player has to also like gain memory back. But it's just that Watcher is, her whole job is to watch, and she's naive in the sense that she lacks a lot of the knowledge. She's just starting kind of this role, and so it mimics the player and having its lack of knowledge with this world. And so going through, and her whole experience of having ALLMOTHER as being this like gloriful person and this deity that just does good no matter what the choices are, and we're seeing Watcher as experiencing the other side of that, and now starting to get the kind of the truth to a lot of this, and starting to second guess and make choices that kind of reflect, or harder choices rather.
And it's got big like evil dictator vibes, right? Because it's very much like, yeah, I did this thing and it was wrong, but I did it for the benefit of you. And if you can't see that, then...
and it's so funny because you see Iris mimicking, and we'll get into it here in a second, her mom in general, of just like the one quote she says that like, do you know how much I've done for you, is like just a perfect reflection of like how her mom was also just, you know, representing these unhealthy responses to parenting or relationships and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I have a hard time with the whole like Iris is a dick, so like her mom being a dick doesn't make me feel bad for Iris.
No,
right?
but I don't feel bad for her, but it makes sense in my brain.
And her dad is a passive person who is not being a parent. Like I do agree with the mother in that. Like it's just interesting because I think everyone has a different experience with what is appropriate. And like the reason that the mom identifies with Zhao so much more than she does with her own daughter is because Zhao is experiencing the same thing that her daughter is, or that she experiences as a child, right? Which is coming to a new place that is completely foreign, feeling completely separate. Like, you know, they have the conversation in the kitchen where she's like, there's no restaurants at night. Like there's no third spaces. Like we have nowhere to go. I don't understand. Like everything closes. Like,
she connects more with Zhao than her own daughter.
I have more sympathy for the mom than I do for Iris, who's, you know, I'm supposed to have some, you know, the whole thing is centered around this person who seems so unlikable and so has no empathy for the fact that like their parents had to do this thing and sacrifice.
Yeah. But I think that's the point too, is to have this like either confliction to some point, or like you said, just a complete separate resolve of being, this character is presented as being, you know, against like sin free and the god of this world. But now we're seeing the background of that.
Once again, like it comes down to nuance, right? Where it's like there's a way to balance. A pure villain is not an interesting character in the same way that a pure hero is not an interesting character, right? The cracks in the armor in the opposite, like, you know, the things that you identify and are like, oh, I can connect with this person. That's what makes characters interesting. The way that they've presented Iris so far is so one-dimensional, as she's bad, she's selfish, and she hurts the people around her, and she clearly is egotistical to a point of absurdity in which she made these clones and then took away their ability to survive without masks as like a punishment for one of them trying to do something kind. Like there's just no redemption. There's no way to like be like, oh, like I see why she's making these choices. Like having a bad parent doesn't make you a dictator. That's not a lesson. Like generational trauma is very real, but the perpetuation of generational trauma as an excuse of this is why I am this way is just like, that's not a good representation of it, right? Like that's not how it functions. You have the ability to step out of that pain or to recognize it, and it seems that Iris doesn't do that in any meaningful way at all.
Yeah, and it's also interesting because, like, again, as you're talking about it, like I'm just thinking, and it's like such a god complex that she ends up with, right? Because it's very like what she does. In my brain, I was kind of thinking like, well, that's really like the Adam and Eve thing, right? Like one person did something. I mean, in that example, it was something they were told not to do, but like in this instance,
she ate the apple, for a lack of a better word.
Yeah, and so like the people going forward must be punished because of the actions of this like one person. So
I think it's a control thing too, right? It's like just taking control away from Iris, and this idea, this complex of being lonely and pushing everyone else away and being like, you know, everyone else is terrible and I have the best intentions, right? Creating these clones so you're not lonely and everything. And then when that control starts to waver, right? When they start making clones of themselves, that whole structure just falling apart and being like, now your control was taken away from you. And an unhealthy response would be exactly what Iris did, which was kill everybody in response to that and force the other person to be punished because of those actions too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if she kills everybody. because they keep referencing that there's like an outside world, right? Like there still is.
I meant everybody in the sense of just the
facility
clones that she watched, the 5 clones that she had created initially.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I think the virus killed most people on the outside world.
In the facility, though, right?
She definitely must have killed the soldiers there because ain't no one left anymore.
Yeah. I want to talk about the mechanics a little bit because I really like the time flipping as
flipping between different times.
I think that of all of the things that I've experienced with this game so far, that's the one that stood out to me as like, this is an interesting concept.
You didn't like the weird zoom, like zoom fin.
Hold on.
Wait, I kind of like that.
What? Oh, hold on. Well, let's start with the time flipping before I fucking flip a bitch on
he's gonna blow
stupidest fucking mechanic of all time. I like the time flipping. I think that's cool. I think the way it has been implemented the best is in the school. Like I think that was the most like, oh, okay, I start getting how this is gonna work. Like, you know, you go into one room, flip the time because there's a block on the other space. Like I thought that was cool. I was like, okay, I get what we're doing here. You know, a lot of it is dialogue based, which is fine. Like it is a walking sim, essentially. That's the kind of game it is. It's a journey, Edith Finch, yada yada, all of that category, right? There's not much going on here as far as like interacting with the world in any meaningful way.
Yeah,
you're just talking to characters, which is fine. Like I think going to the gymnasium, doing that stuff, like having the memories blocked off because Iris doesn't want the people to see those memories. Like, okay, cool, fine. I think that the later sections of time flipping are just fucking tedious. Like having to go all the way back to healer from
in the first
41
but that's
to
just one instance though.
I mean,
no.
I
just feel like it could have been like you
just
held it just like
after. Yeah.
I agree. When I got to the end,
not only do you have to press that button, you have to press hold 40 times. There's no reason to make me do that just to go back to healer. Like, once again, you can say like, oh, it's one thing, but it is a conscious choice. They made you do that. And it's like,
I wonder if there was different like conversations we could have had because I didn't interact with anything. I just went back to healer. So I wonder if there's like different contextual conversations we could have had, and that's why it would made you go back. I mean, there's maybe new things.
But it was the same information. It's the same as the Zhao fin in the street. Like when you go back, you're just getting the same information again.
That's another one where you have to like keep holding it forward and then like once
again, didn't feel as egregious because you're like walking to each point. But
yes, you're right. It wasn't as bad as the time that they made you do 40 in a row going backwards.
Make like 41 loop to 1, so you just press it once to the beginning and then like.
Well, and I think it's just like expectations too, because I was like, oh, cool, I'm gonna like hold this and we're gonna like fast forward or rewind back to 1, and I was gonna like see all these like instances flash by, and when that wasn't the case, I was like, oh, I gotta like hold this each time. So
I'm really hoping out that there was a reason, that it was a deliberate choice. I'm really.
Even if but here's because we're gonna keep returning to this, which is like, oh, maybe it's deliberate.
Yeah, I mean, you can still not like it if it's deliberate. Like that's fine. Like,
you can say like, oh, there's a deliberate reason for this, and it can still be bad.
Yeah, like, also like that works for some people and that doesn't, right? A deliberate, intentional gameplay mechanic. Like, for some people, it's justifiable, and
we're three different people who experience the same thing. What is the reason
for holding and going back?
I know.
Yeah, exactly. There is none. We can't come up with one. So
are we talking about that mechanic specifically?
I'm saying that section, that moment where it makes you go back 40. In all the other sections where you go back, the dialogue doesn't change. So that's not what it is. They make you go all the way back to healer. There's no like, it's just annoying. That's it. Like, right? Like if there was something we could come up with, we'd be like, oh, this is, blah, blah. But we just went forward 40 and then have to go 40 back for no reason.
My only thought would be those last sections are kind of the most like the emotional high of that chapter, right? With all of that stuff happens with all of the sisters. So maybe going back and having to essentially re-experience that, and like you're seeing kind of all this turmoil happen again as you're going back through it, right? Almost like, I mean, they are memories, so it's like almost remembering this stuff is like something that I guess I can kind of associate it with. And the whole idea of going back to healer was she missed the ending, so it's like recapping and recanting these 4 like lore specific for healer and
I
going
mean,
through there,
it doesn't move slow enough though for that to be true, right?
Yeah.
Like you're literally just seeing these flashes, and like at a certain point, you're not even paying attention because you're just trying to get back to one. You're like, okay, I'm gonna just keep going. Anyway, the much more painful mechanic that I fundamentally can't understand what the fuck is the point of is the dumbass fucking R trigger zoom. Why? Why
to,
make
like,
me
dash to all the different things?
Yeah.
Like,
no
flying
reason. It
around
doesn't
the
offer
world.
anything. There's no narrative point to it. It doesn't connect to the world. There's no like. It's just like, oh, it's a video game. We need to do a video game thing so that we have something in here that's more than scanning back and forth. Like it's just.
I can see it as that of like breaking up the monotony, because each of these chapters all start in a different gameplay mechanic, right? It starts as like your normal camera view over the shoulder, third person in the school. Second chapter, it starts off with that more 2D line where you're running sideways, and there's another one where you're looking above inside of Iris's home. So maybe just throwing around different gameplay mechanics to break up the monotony of like how you're experiencing these things. The reason why I didn't dislike this too much is there's a game called Gravity Rush that pretty much does this. I mean, it's more interesting in Gravity Rush because the whole point is you're in this world and you're able to manipulate gravity and like walk sideways along buildings and launch yourself up to different things to solve puzzles. So it's more interesting than just going from one narrative point to the other. But this is not a gameplay mechanic that I'm unfamiliar with. They do this very similarly in something like Gravity Rush.
It's not even like it's an unfamiliar. It's grappling. That's what it is.
Sure.
Whether there's a
this is Ratchet and Clank. This is Ratchet and Clank grappling.
There is one section of this I wouldn't have even mentioned. I've been like, okay, sure, we're doing a little zoomy zoom thing. That's fun. The plane section, at least I could be like, oh, it's flying. We're flying.
Yeah.
That they made it come back 3 fucking times for no reason.
I would not be surprised if it doesn't. If it doesn't, you're not going to see this going forward too.
Like, why? Why make me do this? What is if there was some point to it, maybe, or if it was more difficult, but it is literally just like turn, zoom, turn, zoom, turn, zoom, turn, zoom, turn, zoom, turn, zoom, fall, conversation. And every time it's the same thing. And it's like,
I'm trying
fun the first time, and it's not fun the third fucking time I've had to do it.
I'm trying to remember if they were very specific situations, right? If there were specific memories tied to these moments.
They were the really specific moments where Iris was a bitch to Zhao.
No, because there's times where we're going through the experience with the parents when they're younger and going through like their experience with her mother, where the grandmother, where we're still going through those jumpy sections as well.
So I guess what I'm getting at is like, is it supposed to be that because this is a memory, this is a hard area of the memory to reach? Like Iris couldn't find a way to block it off, so she's kind of like tried to bury it deep.
Well, it's also something that's more it's less stable than any of the other memories either, right? There's like planes everywhere, there's desk flipped upside down. It's a very more liminal space, so maybe it is a memory that's supposed to be suppressed, and because it's in this area of the brain that's less stable because of the association with the memory, maybe it's a hard memory or anything like that, then it creates the space. I understand that doesn't mean the gameplay mechanics any more interesting. I understand that from your perspective. I still totally get that, but in my head it kind of like connects the dots and makes
but if you're gonna do that, if the whole point is like, oh, it's difficult to reach these memories, make it difficult.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I fell a couple times trying to figure out like where to connect on things. So.
Not even one time.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I was just kidding. That didn't happen to me at all.
How was that possible?
I don't know, man. I was tired. I was eepy. I was falling a lot.
Anyway, it's stuff like that is just tilting. It's like, why do this? So many people played this game before they released it, and they were like, nice. I just don't understand. No one had notes that was like, hey, 3 of these sections in the first 2 hours is too many of these sections that offer you absolutely nothing.
I guess I will agree, if this is just the norm going forward, then I could see it being like there's other ways to introduce it. I guess we all have a different level of patience when it comes to kind of like that mechanic. No,
because there are nitpicky things where I could be an asshole if I wanted to. The amount they make you run across that city, I wasn't gonna bring this up, but I'm gonna bring it now. Too long.
City. Yeah, like in the water where you're running to the right.
There's a permissible amount of time where you run and you're like, okay, and then you have to keep running way longer than you should.
It got to a point where I was like, Was I supposed to go like a different way?
Yeah,
I was
back. I tried to go back. I was like, once again,
I agree with that. There was a point where I was like legitimately like, oh, I've done the wrong thing. I've gone the wrong way.
But here's the thing. If 3 people who are not in communication all experience the exact same thing in the exact same section and were confused by it, and how no one before us who was QAing this game said, hey man, it's too long. There's too much going on here. That's a bad sign. Like that's what
beautiful. I loved looking at that section of the memories though. The city with the water. Like I loved looking at it. So, but I will agree. There was a section of me that was like, I must have needed to go back and ran another way. I must have. Clearly, this is not the right way. So, I get it.
Okay.
Should we talk plot?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I was going to talk about. I wanted to discuss just the very openings of this, the very opening section, which we kind of we are learning the outcome to all of our decisions as this first scene being the introduction, or it's later down the line has been called. I don't remember the exact
in media
phrase.
res.
In media res.
Yeah, the Tarantino approach.
So the first thing that we see, obviously, this is spoilers for 1000xRESIST. We're here, we're talking plot. So if you haven't played this section, or if you haven't played the game, go play it first, come back and listen. But Watcher kills Iris, stabs Iris through the back, and kills Iris. And that's the very first scene that
we don't know who that woman is at that time. We just see a woman in blue stab a woman in black with a halo around her head.
That's all we get. Context at the end of this section, after chapter 3, we now know that Iris is the creator of all of these. Iris is the first individual to kind of have the immunity for the virus that we talked about earlier. And Iris is the one that all the clones were based off of. And Watcher, the one doing all the terrible shit, as Kai was saying, and Watcher kills Iris, at least to our knowledge.
And usually when you use this plot trope, you have a slow unraveling of like, why would she do this? This is you build it up. You go back in time. You're like, this is her mother. Why would she? Once again, though,
we know why she did this now.
We're like, yeah, I get it. I get why she killed her.
Okay,
This is a terrible person.
This is the perfect opportunity of like subversion too, right? You get to the point where you're like, I thought this was the whole idea. This is the whole plot, and we undo another layer.
Now. I don't think this happened.
Oh, okay, interesting.
I don't think this. I think this is like.
You don't think the Watcher killed Iris?
No, I think the Watcher learned a lot about Iris and wants to do this, but I don't think this has actually happened.
Okay, I can get behind that. I can get behind that. Well, especially because Iris, for one, Iris isn't in the building and structure, the area of the garden where all of the clones are. Iris has taken herself away from that, and every now and then a clone gets called to ALLMOTHER, which is what Iris is called. They take the train to ALLMOTHER. So Watcher doesn't even have direct connection to Iris yet. The second thing is Iris is at least seen for the most part as kind of being a powerful being. So something like being stabbed through the back, I don't know if would kill her or even get the opportunity to do that. Again, we don't know the extent of Iris's power aside from being able to clone.
She
herself.
has like a deity kind of aura about her, right? Like at least like a demigod or something. That's the way she carries herself.
But we know she's a human being.
But maybe
having
the virus in her body for as long as she has.
The problem, and my theory too, is the entire time we're seeing Iris, when it's not, obviously we're not looking through her lens in first person because that's another gameplay mechanic that happens. If we're ever seeing Iris on the out throughout the school, she always has a halo around her head, even before the garden stuff happened, even when she was just in her hoodie in the school.
Which means she's an occupant.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, was she an occupant from the jump? Is she originally just an occupant?
Well, I'm sure we'll learn.
Yeah. Has she become an occupant because she's immune? I don't know.
Yeah.
So then there's go on.
I didn't know you were going. I was going to the next kind of main big reveal is the thing with Fixer and
that's
all
where
that
I was going. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, the next main thing is we have these things called communion, which I'm imagining is Watcher is slowly learning more about ALLMOTHER. I'm assuming that's like the role of Watcher is to learn history and everything. That's the purpose of Watcher, that role in general.
No, because so the thing I was going to talk about was that Fixer is the one who gets chosen to go to ALLMOTHER.
Yes.
And there's a whole scene where they go on a train and they have this like really awkward goodbye. And that was really important because of what Fixer says during the communion that gets spoiled. So each of the sisters, the main sisters, have a purpose. So you have Healer, who is the healer, Fixer, who is the fixer.
Yep.
You have the Noah, who is essentially like a librarian and has the archives of
like
everything.
A curator of knowledge.
I think Watcher's job is to watch the other sisters and essentially report to Principal. And it is kind of like the authorized snitch of the Orchard. And then Principal then will relay that to Allmother.
Yeah. I didn't get that as being her main role, as just like what she's doing now. I thought the main role. Yeah, but there was not supposed to be anybody in the communion, which is why Fixer wasn't supposed to be there, right? So technically her first communion wasn't necessarily associated with watching her sisters. It was just learning about Allmother.
No,
that was her initial.
What I meant was that's her function in the Orchard.
Sure. Okay, yes.
That's what I was saying. Sorry. It's like each of them have a function in the Orchard.
I don't think it is revealed whether the communion is specific to Watchers or to all.
That's
sisters.
What I was curious about. I don't know if she's the one doing it, and they're
she's the one doing it because we're playing that character, but we don't know that like Fixer could commune with Healer separately. No. Theoretically, they all should have access to the memories, and Nowhere has access to all of the fucking knowledge that Iris ever had. So I'm assuming like.
Well, what if that's just an organization of knowledge that Watcher gains from doing the communions, though?
Well, I think what I would assume is that, like, because Watcher is essentially the closest one to Allmother, right? Because she's in direct contact with Principal. So the way I kind of took it was like Watcher needs to know the history of Allmother in order to look out for like certain things and to stop the what do they call it, the ancient sister's sin or something, whatever it was. To stop something from like that from reoccurring. It's not clear though. Like
performing communions is the primary function of Watcher sisters. Other sisters can participate in communion process when brought in by Watcher, but the core duty belongs to Watcher alone.
Okay, so her role is to go through communion and learn the memories of Allmother. That is her purpose. Okay, and then she can bring people into them, which again is our first kind of main plot point that happens. Is we think Fixer has gone to Allmother, but Fixer shows up in the communion.
Fixer has gone to Allmother.
Is that not what I said?
You said we think. There was
we know that.
I was well actually you.
Yes, no, we do know. We saw Fixer go off, but Fixer does show up.
So Fixer leaves, and we're in a communion, and then we have. It reminded me of the ghost from Destiny. I don't know what they're actually.
The
secretary.
Yeah, I love little secretary.
And so we're kind of going through this situation, and like you said, Fixer comes along, and the reason I was trying to make it really clear that she was with Allmother was because of what she says. Like she basically has this big revelation that she's like, Allmother's lied to us. Like the surface world is not the way she made it out to be. But then she also says like little things. She's like, oh, like she hurts us, she beats us, and like really like lays on the like Iris is just like a fucking awful person.
It's so interesting, right? And I'm curious of how this plot point goes through because Iris gave the powers of each one of the sisters and gave them a role, and Fixer is warning us about the evils of Allmother. But if Iris knows that Watcher's role is to go through these communions and learn about her past, she's going to see all the stuff that she's done. I mean, maybe Iris doesn't see them as being bad, but you would think that going through the memories, you would see like, oh my gosh, she's made some kind of terrible decisions, and that might change the opinions of these clones.
That's, I guess, what I was kind of saying was going back to when I like compared her to like an evil dictator. Like she did awful things, but all in the name of the good for the sisters. So it's kind of like, yes, I did these things, but I'm not saying I agree with that. What I'm saying is I think Allmother views it as she
good things.
Did these things as like a necessary evil.
Yeah. But there's obviously some that she understands are bad because there's memories that are intentionally blocked out. I mean, the whole idea that Secretary tells us is we can only see memories that Iris experienced herself, dreamed of.
Exactly.
Yeah,
or ALLMOTHER approved.
ALLMOTHER approved, stamp of approval. But there's some memories
sanctioned.
that we can't get access to because of that. But unfortunately, Fixer telling us all this, Watcher does report Fixer, and Fixer gets fucking singed, bro. Like the pictures of her burning and like the colorful coloring thing was like, I don't know how you guys felt about that, but I was like, oh, like that's hard. That's
it
crazy.
Started off like, because they're like, I mean, at this point, Iris is like, what, at least 15, 16, like in the memories that we're viewing. But they're drawn almost kind of like a 9 or 10-year-old would drawn, and they're like very childish. And so yeah, like you said, it's these pictures like of the green one, and then Principal's there, and then they're like, and Fixer was burned for her sins, and
she's like a fucking crucifix, like burning to death. I was like, holy shit!
She's like, oh, and now in more detail, and it like really like zooms in on her head on fire.
Yep, and it's like 2 or 3 pictures of like more detail, of like a skull burning in that helmet.
Yeah, once again, strange choices. I don't know what, like, I guess that is how most people draw. So
to me, I was like, this is fucking state propaganda. Like, I'm not even making a meme. Like, this genuinely felt like,
yeah,
because the way it's broadcast as well is Principal was like, oh, if you could all direct your attention to the portal, and like everyone looks up, and it's like splayed on this like roofish kind of thing for everybody to see.
No, absolutely.
It's almost like Fixer was made an example of because she went against the ALLMOTHER.
For sure. And even later on, when we're talking to Healer at the end of this chapter, we're talking about how it seems like Watcher at this point too is, staying in line for fear more than anything else. She's scared of ALLMOTHER. She's scared of herself. And there's like you said, it's almost that propaganda. It's like, look, if you misbehave, you will burn publicly. You will publicly burn, and this is going to happen to you. And it's just like this crazy dichotomy of Watcher having to, not wanting to turn her sisters in, but afraid for her own life that if she doesn't, she'll end up like them too.
The first one that we have, the first communion, is with Principal. And this is like supposed to be the sacred communion. This is like, do you want to let your cat out, bro?
No, there's a scratching post right there.
She's scratching post. Please!
Oh, okay, right. As I say, normally Buddy does that if the door's shut.
Well, I had to put a scratching post there, but I also had to. She fucked up our carpet so bad there that I literally had to replace the carpet. Hey, I did handiwork, which was cut a whole carpet out, replace the carpet. Now it looks fine. There definitely is a square that looks different than the rest of the carpet, but I did it. That's all that matters.
I'm proud of you.
So the first one is with Principal, and that's where later on in the communion that shit happens with Fixer. But this is the one we were talking about with the school and the gym, and this is where we learn about Zhao and like what happened between Zhao and Iris and how she treated her. And like
Zhao, I feel so bad for her because Iris just treats her, and she just comes back. She's like, I just want to be your friend, and just Iris treats her like shit just every chance that she can.
Yeah, 100%. It's fucking awful when we're like talking to this picture of Zhao, who like we later find out died from this illness that was like brought down to the earth. But I mean, at this point, this is kind of introducing the time skip mechanics that we spoke about and stuff. Like, this was by far the strongest part of this first leg for me.
Yeah, I agree. I was gonna say I agree with Kai, where the whole school setting and bouncing between, and it's really fun to like once you get a hang of it, you're just like running down a hallway and you're in kind of like the first memory where it's all like red and black, and there's a barricade, and you just switch to the past real quick, and you switch back to, again, it's like opening doors and creating puzzles by just switching between times. I think it was super cool. Like I loved this aspect. I definitely think you guys are right that this is kind of the strongest gameplay stuff that we've done so far.
Yeah. And then after this, we have the whole thing where we get told that Fixer was killed. We'll say it's interesting that there's no like evidence of that.
Yeah, it's just these photos. So we don't know if they're dead. We don't know if Fixer is actually dead. So
and this is where we get introduced to the orchard, which is that kind of clinical area that we were talking about earlier on.
And the map that's very 9-year-old drawn as well throughout that.
And this is when we have the second communion with BB or Bang Bang Fire.
I love Bang Bang Fire. She's my favorite.
Why? What is it about her?
I don't know. I just like her person. Maybe I like her aesthetic the best. I mean, maybe it's like the
She has
orange
the
and
cool
black that I
aesthetic.
think that she has the coolest aesthetic, but I don't know.
I thought Healer
that or Nowhere. I like Nowhere's aesthetic as well, the purple and black.
I'm very confused why it's called Bang Bang Fire.
It's because she's the military person.
Yeah,
her whole power is to supervise the military.
The other ones aren't fucking like no knowledge and fucking Band-Aid baddie. Like I just don't.
Maybe that's why I like her, because she's the one that's different. It's like Knower, Healer, Watcher, Bang Bang Fire, and I was like, yes, you. I like you. You're different and cool.
And this is where we have the second communion, where we start to experience a bit of Iris's history with her parents and learning a bit about
her parents' history and everything. Yeah.
A little bit about them, and like you said, about the Hong Kong revolts and all of that stuff, and them coming over to America, and just learning that like the dad is such a fucking cuck. Like he's just a fucking little bitch. Like I don't know how else to explain it. Like,
that's crazy. I could see that too. Like for me, I was like, oh, like that's sweet, but he needs to like he does need to step up, right?
It's like the good cop, bad cop stuff. I think that's why he comes across as like overly soft, is because the mum is being very like, you can't do this, and the dad's like, no, let her do what she wants. Like it's fine. Like we were young once and all of that stuff. The zip section. Oh, that's the fucking thing that we don't like. So in the middle of the Umbrella Revolution, I don't know what the Umbrella Revolution was. Is that like a thing within the game? Is that a thing within? Oh no, this is a real 2014 Hong Kong protests. Holy shit!
Yeah.
Its name arose. Sorry, I'm learning in real time. Umbrellas used to defend against police pepper spray and quickly gained widespread acceptance.
Yeah.
God damn.
I know this, like you said, this doesn't justify Iris's actions. It gives a little more context to them, why she had, and I liked learning about her mother's side of things too, because we get to see grandmother in this section, which you can see her mother's whole idea was kind of like stay and fight kind of situation, where she's like, stay here. And even though she's still worried about her daughter going to these protests and everything, staying was the idea. And when she found out that her daughter and husband were going to leave, her mom didn't like that. There was one quote that was saying like, I'm glad you're leaving because I don't have to worry about you anymore. And like that stuff, like that sucks. Like as like probably a child to a parent, like that stuff is probably hard to hear, which messed up the mom, which in turn, again, the whole idea of generational trauma and everything.
Yeah. I think it's hard because like, how do I say this? There is no effort put in to explain the situation of why, and I am personally very I guess sensitive to like anti-Chinese propaganda. Like there's a lot of especially coming from like you look at things like fucking like the Falun Gong and the stuff they do with Shen Yun, and like the idea of like glorious China before communism, right? Like this and China has a lot of problems, don't get me wrong, and Hong Kong specifically, obviously they want to be a democracy, and that is in direct conflict with the way that the CCP runs the country. Fine, but like they just do a heavy-handed like China bad, which I'm just like, okay, not a lot of nuance. Which like once again, fine. Most people, that's going to be their understanding anyway, so it doesn't really matter. They're already predisposed to thinking like, oh yes, evil China. But it is just like they don't do a great job of like explaining nuance, where they're just like, this person is doing protests and they're leaving and they're coming to Canada, and it's like, okay, like like the mom was kind of right in a way, like her mother's mother, like you should stay and like fight, and like if that's what you want to do, that's great. Like it is your country ultimately. Like I don't know. There's not a lot of obviously, I am not Chinese, clearly. And I don't have Chinese experience, but I did grow up in a very ethnically diverse area in which a lot of people that I grew up around were Asian and from different parts of Asia, Vietnam and Korea mainly. And like there is almost a reductiveness and a lack of nuance that this story is trying to present in the immigrant experience that is like it's more multifaceted than this game is kind of uh giving into, right? It's a very basic like ooh, angry Asian mom from other country, like daughter who's now Americanized doesn't understand, like you know, it's kind of it's a trope almost at this point, and it's like where is the new like obviously this game was made by Asian people of Asian descent, and I assume people from Chinese descent, so that's what it's.
Yeah, well, I was gonna ask like the director, or say rather Remy Sway. It seems like his experiences for the most part reflect this a lot. Like it reflects like this narrative of coming to like they're from Vancouver and everything, like coming to Vancouver from Hong Kong and everything. Being a part of Hong Kong exile, which I don't know what this is.
I'm assuming it was the group of folks who were against China's like, you know,
it's an arts company in Vancouver.
Okay, well, there you go. Never mind. But I mean obviously the tone is that they
I think that's still
what's happening in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Anyway, it's interesting. I was expecting there to be more like of a depth and like of a nuance to it rather than something.
And there still might be.
No, not in the section that they're talking about. Not in the handling of the family and in the handling of how they explained the situation of why they fled. Like there's no cleaning that up now. They did it. Right. Like there's no additional nuance that you can put it at this point. They presented something as the reason. I just feel like they didn't go deep enough into something that I think is very artistically interesting and something that would like having a bit of nuance there would have been helpful for, rather than just kind of glossing over it and being like, oh, you're an immigrant, you're fleeing from a bad country.
I guess I guess I can see that.
But would you want them to have like to gone through all of that? Because I feel like that is something that like maybe in a future communion we'll somehow get access to like a hidden memory that Iris is hidden, where we learn more about.
But the problem is that doesn't make sense, because the entire premise is that Iris's perspective of her parents is very reductive. She's upset. We only can experience things that Iris has experienced, right? That's the point of the game. And Iris as a person has no empathy whatsoever towards her parents in any meaningful way. So we'll never get that empathy, right? Like she herself is so closed off from understanding like the struggles that her parents have gone through and the decision to leave a country. It's just assumed that we know that, but Iris doesn't seem to recognize that at all. Iris is just pissed that her mom is like an Asian woman in a country that she doesn't, isn't her culture, and she's just annoyed that her parents don't like immediately fit in the way that she wants them to.
Do you think that, again, it goes back to the intentionality, and for some this doesn't justify some decisions, but do you think that's why we don't get more deeper context, because Iris herself doesn't have that? She only can get surface level of her parents and just accept it at surface level?
100%. I think as far as like a reasoning, that's my justification for like, that's why I said that, of like, she doesn't know that. She's a child. She doesn't have the understanding of what any of this means. Like, think about yourself at 16. You're fucking dumb. Like, but also then don't make a game. Right? Like I guess that's my thing, is it's like, you want to try to say something interesting, but trying to say something interesting for the perspective of a 16-year-old is kind of like, unless you're doing coming of age, which this doesn't seem like it's going to be, right? Like,
I don't know. It's hard, man. Cause like, I get what you're saying and I agree with it to a level. I think for me, not fucking comparing this whatsoever, but like my opinion of my parents from when I was 16 to now is vastly fucking different, and I don't just mean that as, but what I mean is like there was a lot of stuff that happened in my house growing up, a lot of substance misuse, domestic violence, and stuff like that. That, like, at the time, I was just very much kind of like, why the fuck are you doing that? I think as I've gotten older and I've kind of learned more about,
you understand those decisions a
I
little
wouldn't
more.
say, I wouldn't say I understand. I guess, like, I'm able to more empathize with them now.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm kind of wondering is, like, okay, at the time she was 16 years old, and it was just like, you've brought me to another country. I don't fit in here, or I do fit in, but you don't fit in, and you're different to these other people. What I wonder is, like, are we going to see a future communion where Iris looks and is like, well, actually, like, I'm thankful to my parents for taking me out of that situation and bringing me to Canada. Like, is there going to be some sort of reflection when she's older?
Not only that, but I think Zhao plays a much heavier hand in the relationship with her parents than is at least even shown here. I mean, we see a
she's
little
like the golden child, right?
Yeah, well, that's the problem is, right? Iris is lonely and she's really only looking for companionship, and her mom already doesn't connect with her because her situation is very different. And then you bring this other person in that more directly reflects the mom's experience, and now there's this whole idea of siblings, right? And feeling this imbalance of love can do a lot to a child, especially if it's not like a sibling that's actually blood related to this idea of like sisters or siblings, and the attention being misplaced. And again, 16, she's already like hates the world. Her parents are already like doing the wrong thing for every 16-year-old, and this just piles on to a lot of those feelings as well.
I agree with what Kai's saying in the sense of, like, what's already done is done, and they can't, like, re-portray what they've already portrayed. I guess I'm just trying to stay, like, optimistic that, like, there's some future communion where there's some sort of reflection from Iris of, like, the situation her parents were in and the choices they made, and I guess, like, it's that whole thing, isn't it, of, like, your parents not just being parents, but, like, them being their own people and them having their own lives and, like, experiences and trauma and all of that stuff. Like, you don't think about that shit when you're 16. It's only when you get
No,
older
not at all.
and you start to experience stuff for yourself that you're like, oh shit, like, there was stuff happening to my parents that I wasn't privy to. I don't know how it affected them and stuff. So I guess I'm remaining hopeful that
and
she
maybe
will
we'll get,
reflect
like,
in the future.
we don't know, like, history wise, like, is Iris at this point immortal in her current age? Is she 16 immortal? Are we gonna get like an older Iris that can, like, or I mean, we don't even know if she makes it that far, right? We saw her get stabbed, whether that's true or not. We saw her get fucking stabbed from the back.
I would say it is some level of immortality because all of the clones are the same age and none of them ever age. Like, from their inception to now, the hundreds and hundreds of generations of clones, like, they're all locked in at, I assume, 16. Like,
do we know how far in the future after the outbreak this is?
If you pay attention to the dates at the bottom, you could figure it hundreds of years.
Okay. That's the assumption I got, was like hundreds of years in the future.
Yeah, because, like, the dates at the bottom, like, shift dramatically. There's ones in the 3000s and stuff like that.
Is that the dates in the bottom during the communions?
Yes. Yeah. You see like the specific dates.
I don't know if you're picking it. I do not trust Iris and her perception of.
Oh, I mean, no,
not at all.
Not at all. I don't trust her perception of, like, the way she's telling things, or, like, like anything.
Okay, I got some of an answer. It says the game takes place across a vast span, primarily jumping between an initial time period around the mid 21st century to an era approximately 1,000 years in the future.
Okay.
Oh, 1,000 times resist.
Yeah,
1,000 times. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
The other thing to say about this communion is this, at the very end, I believe, is when Johnson the 50 and Mimi the 50, who are essentially these, like, government soldiers, arrive and basically are like, we think that Iris is the kind of the cure and she's the key to breaking this disease, and
everyone in her school died except for her because of this virus.
And you get
It's The Last of Us. Kai did make a Last of Us comment of this being Last of Us.
I want to be clear. It's Ellie. If Ellie just went with the government instead of hiding the fact that she was immune and then going with the Fireflies. This is what happened.
That's really Joel's fault, but we won't get into that.
No. Joel's fault that she didn't end up with the Fireflies. I'm saying if at the beginning of The Last of Us, Ellie just goes to the U.S. government and they put her in a facility.
Like, I'm immune. Come experiment on me. Let me help people.
Exactly.
I see. Yeah. Because that's Iris's thing. Which I mean, it could also be just like a fuck you to her parents, but they're like, no, she can't go. She's young. She's our daughter. She's like, I'm going. Like, I don't care what you say. I'm going.
You guys.
Go help people go, quote unquote, help the world. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And then the last chapter that we play is a really weird ordeal because it's ALLMOTHER's birthday, which means it's also all of the clones' birthday.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
they all
celebrate ALLMOTHER. Yeah, they all celebrate they say happy birthday. They celebrate ALLMOTHER.
Which is not how clones work, by the way.
No, surely your birthday is the date that you
were cloned.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we all know Iris is a god complex. She's like, no, all of these are.
So let's because we're so long, but let's recap
but we talked about a lot before. I'm
the middle
section, a little over an hour.
We still have the whole like reveal of her creating the clones, and
that's this communion.
Yeah, that's this one.
Okay.
Yeah. So that we get told to go and commune with Healer, and we go along, and the whole place is like done up like it's a birthday, etc. And then basically we go and commune with Healer, and like immediately straight off the bat. I mean, first of all, there's like a dead clone or something on the
she's like experimenting on the clones, or she's doing. I think she's doing. She's trying to find a cure to the virus, right? Because all of them breathe through masks, and that's what she's trying to do. She's like, you fell and cracked her mask, and that's why she died.
Yes, yeah. She's not experimenting on them per se. She's trying to save them after they breathe in the virus,
right? And like straight off the bat, she's not interested. She's like, I don't care what the principal said. Like, I don't want to do this. Do we actually have to?
She's jaded.
Yes.
It seems like she's been around the block a few times and already. She also like knows a lot about ALLMOTHER, it seems, and she's just kind of like keeping her head down and just staying to herself.
Yeah. She gives the energy of being like the longest serving sister for sure. So we begin the commune, and basically this all starts off. It resolves around Iris actually going with the 50. And basically I'm assuming the 50 are the government, some organization.
to some extent, some organization trying to cure this virus as well.
And she ends up basically at the
facility,
and this is the section we were talking about with the water and the running and all of that stuff. There's so much running, and then this is kind of what I was like. So everything is very like biblical and religious-y sounding, and it's very like, oh, the firstborn arrived at the garden, and you've got this like story that's happening. And essentially, basically, what happens is Iris arrives. They start testing on her. And then why does she kill the soldiers?
They start cloning her. In trying to replicate the immunity, which is how it starts on them cloning her first.
So that's it. They start cloning her,
and she just kind of gets pissed off and kills them.
Yeah, and it's not really clear how she does it, but basically they somehow all get infected with this illness, and all of the staff in the orchard die. And then Iris gets bored, and Iris starts to clone herself. And so she creates the first 5 clones, and she basically, in true dictator fashion, is like, don't do that.
The very first thing is to not clone. They have a fun little jingle that I don't remember what it is. They have a fun jingle about,
but it's very explicitly don't clone yourselves.
Yes. Yeah. Very don't
plays into a factor later.
And that's when she determines, like, you're going to be the Watcher, you're going to be this, and blah, blah, blah. And there's like a sequence where we are the current Watcher observing the first Watcher, who's essentially like bullied.
She's called the youngest. Yeah.
and she's essentially bullied. They like play hide and seek, and she never actually finds them. And it's this
It's
whole
ironic
kind
because
of
the whole thing of like she's a watcher and she can't find any of the people that are playing hide and seek and everything, which may be just her glass prescription. That's not good.
Later comment. Hilarious fucking like, okay, sure. It reminds me of like when you have a dream where you're trying to do something and you can never do the thing you're trying to do.
Yes,
like almost to like you know, absurd extent where it's like she's so bad at like you could see because like you as the player see
the first fixer is right there in the archway right at the beginning.
She just can't find anything, which is like I guess to show you that like not only does everyone think she's useless but that she herself is useless, you know. Like, you know.
And then eventually what ends up happening, how did she create the weird defective
she finds
clone?
Zhao's
she finds
diary.
a book. Yeah, she finds
Zhao's diary is in the place where
behind the waterfall.
Yeah, where she escaped originally and did the little drawings, and then she finds a hair in Zhao's diary and decides that she's gonna clone.
She finds a red herring. She's like, I couldn't clone myself, but she didn't say I couldn't clone other people.
Yeah, and she decides to clone Zhao,
which goes this was horribly wrong.
All-Mother's birthday.
Which I don't understand.
Disfigured.
She like there's like the scene happens, the clone happens, and then there's just like chunks of flesh, and then like Zhao is mentally not all there, not able to communicate effectively, and has like half of her face stapled together.
This gave me
never clarified
vibes.
Yeah, sure. Mouthwash.
Just give me mouthwashing vibes.
Yeah, big time.
My thing was that I don't think this is like an easy thing to do, first and foremost. And Iris says that she can clone people by willing it. So I don't know how much of the tech she actually uses, if not her own powers. So I just think that the youngest is like not knowing what the hell to do and managed to clone someone, but you could see the state that this clone Zhao is in, and it's not perfectly executed.
Not good. Not good.
And then it's the All-Mother's birthday, and all of the sisters are around, and the youngest presents this clone of Zhao to the All-Mother, and the youngest has taught it to taught this clone to speak. And this clone is like, I am Zhao, and the All-Mother's like, what did you just say? It's just like, I am Zhao, and then the All-Mother just fucking immediately like slices her throat,
slits her throat, and kills her. And her punishment is killing, because all of her sisters defend her, which is nice that she's like, stay away from her. I was like, what are you gonna do? Like, I created you. Like, what power do you have here? And essentially exposes all of them, takes away their immunity to the virus, which is a crazy thing that she can actually do as well. And this part was like wild, because you go through each segment of the memory, and each one is associated with one of the sisters, and each of them all desperately using their specific skill to try to find a way to survive. And you just see them go from trying to dying. There's like the sequence of them moving and falling to the ground each time. And Iris sparing Watcher and gave Watcher for her sins, which, what did we call this? The
ancient sister's sin.
Ancient sister's sin is her job is now to continue cloning until she has a perfect specimen, and getting rid of the ones that aren't working, which I imagine is killing them. She's cloning them and killing them if they're not perfect, which is awful. Like, that shit is crazy. That sucks.
How do I? Where is he? Oh,
I'm trying to find.
I was trying to jiggle so that you could see Buddy, but no. And then this is where we have to go all the way back to the beginning, because essentially Healer
is like, no, I'm not dealing with this shit. Again, it seems like she's already like, she's known about this.
She's like,
before.
She's terrible. We know this,
which would make sense, because I mean, if she's been around a while, she may well have communed with the Watcher before. So she's probably seen this fucking happen. And I think she does comment. She's like, "Oh, like, are you happy with what you saw? Like, what Iris did was terrible, but like, don't let her fucking basically hear you say that." For want of a better term. I finished here. So after the end of this, you get the chapter 3 finish, save screen. So
I also backed out here.
With us learning that Iris not only killed all of the soldiers, but created the first sisters, has the ability, and that's the kind of conversation, is like, she made a decision to take away the immunity from her clones, and that's what I was saying about like the Adam and Eve thing.
Yeah, and not only that, it presents Watcher with an interesting point now, because obviously she didn't want to turn Fixer in. She did turn Fixer in. Has now Healer is presenting similar things where she's kind of going against all Mother's wishes, and she knows about this. But Watcher has seen what happens to people if they resist All Mother, and now she has this interesting choice. Again, Healer presented as like, Watcher keeps saying that I didn't have a choice, and Healer's like, you always have a choice. You can always make a choice here. And now it's like, does she protect herself and turn in Healer, or does she not turn in Healer? And this is where she talks about being scared, right? We're supposed to fear All Mother, and that's what she got from these memories, which is unfortunate that that's what she pulled from this whole situation, that I have to continue doing these bad things for fear of myself being affected by this. So I'm really curious to see what happens next with Healer,
isn't it? Like,
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that is the end of this leg anyway, plot wise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go on, Kai.
Well, yeah, go for it.
Because the whole thing is they're clones.
Yeah.
But our assumption is that they have the same like human preservation, right?
Sure.
Which is, I think, like, you wouldn't, because you are the thing that makes humans believe that they're individual and unique, right? Like, that's the whole thing. Like, even at a fundamental aspect, but clones are exact identical copies, and at a certain point, a society of a single individual, you wouldn't have the same perspective that you have as a human being. You wouldn't have you would recognize that you were
self-preserve.
Yeah, because you're like, oh, it doesn't matter. We are at a certain point disposable, where it's the same way that bacteria feel about each other, right? It's like, there is no there's
I mean,
you're a community,
I guess, but there's obviously still, even though there's not an individual aspect to these clones, right? They're replaceable. I think there's still a human aspect of existing and not existing, and the idea of like not existing anymore is still, there's still some self-preservation. So it's like, even though they can clone me again, I don't want to not exist anymore. Like, I don't want me as a person not exist.
There must be a self-preservation. Otherwise, like, Watcher wouldn't feel bad about Fixer and what she did, and like it, because she's very.
I'm not saying in this world there's not. I'm just saying from a
real cloning.
Yeah, like but like not even real cloning, but just like a cultural understanding of like because they're all the same. There is no, and because there's so many of them, it's like at a certain point you just become desensitized to that. You're like, oh, we are all the same, and we're ever living, and we, like, it's just it's interesting because they project these human emotions on these things, in which I fundamentally believe, based on human psychology, they wouldn't experience.
Yeah,
like there are examples of people sacrificing the sense of self because they are in such a homogenous culture in which
for greater cause kind of situation, but I think Healer does reflect aspects of those feelings, right? It seems like Healer has gone through stuff like this before, has seen this before, and is just jaded, and it's just like, I'm going to go with the flow, right? I know and it would be even different too if we get to see a new Fixer come out and has a different personality or memories than the existing Fixer. So there'd be some attachment to, even if it's not like individuals, they come back, they're different. So like the Fixer that we know is gone, and they can mourn that and be sad about that, and there's a new Fixer there, and that mourning can create a sense of self-preservation where they know, if I go away now, I'm going to be different if I come back. I'm going to be a different version of myself when I come back. We haven't seen that yet, but if we do see, clearly there's been different versions of these 5 throughout these 1,000 years, so I'm assuming another Fixer will show up to take Fixer's place that is now, memory wiped, back and ready to serve All Mother, back at it again. Which I'm curious of how many times this has gone on. How many loops of this have they done? How many Watchers have tried to break out of this cycle and then have been killed and wiped and start over again?
Well, also
thousands.
1,000.
If it's a cloning, if it's a cloning thing, like, is this like a loop where Fixer continuously does this? Where Fixer because I mean, that's the whole thing they say, is like Fixer was rebellious and was very like I mean, I'll just go on.
I was gonna say, the point of even Healer, like how many times do you have to go through this where you're just like you were just saying, you kind of just go with the flow. You just try to you put your head down, you try to find a cure for this, try to stop it. And that's why maybe she didn't want to go with Watcher, because how many times has she done that? How many times has she gone with Watcher and watched these same awful memories over and over and over again?
Yeah. And also recognizing that like you're trying to get the answer to something that is caused by the person that you're supposed to be worshiping, right? Like you know for a fact that ALLMOTHER could get rid of the illness if she wanted to, but it's your curse that you have to live with this. Like there is like that part of it is you know hard, I'm sure, to experience.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll get more information.
Yeah, I'm excited. But I mean, regardless of our all initial thoughts, which we'll quickly go through and kind of a summation of how we're feeling going from this section in the beginning and going into the next section. But like this was a great conversation. Like stuff like this conversation that we have is kind of like my favorite part of the podcast, is having these theory crafting and like things we liked and didn't liked. So, you know, it's okay, guys. Hold on. There's still a lot of 1000xRESIST. I know this is a very well-known game, but if anything, it's creating interesting conversations. And I think that's the point of video games, right? Is to kind of talk about these things, whether we like mechanics or not. I think this is kind of the whole point, is to have this like community of discussion around the thing. Sure. So, okay. Well, again, we'll do a quick summation of how we're feeling and kind of like theories going in. Ben, I'm going to kick it to you first this time. How are you feeling at the end of chapter 3, and any theories going forward?
I think the initial kind of shock around the like clumsiness that I felt died down towards the end of the leg, and I'm kind of just used to how the game kind of operates and stuff. At the minute, it is all very surface level, but we have only played like 2 and a bit hours. My kind of theory at the moment, I don't think any of this has happened the way that it's said to happen. I think
interesting.
Although Iris has said like, "Oh, you can only experience things that I've experienced," I don't believe that. I think it's curated in a way that Iris kind of wants it to be. I think there's a lot of the words used are like very deliberately chosen, like the communion thing, that is like a religious like ceremony where somebody makes a connection with God. The idea of like the firstborn and all of that stuff, like, is a lot of religious undertones that make me think that, I don't know why, but I think none of this has really happened the way that Iris has said it's happened, and that she has curated this kind of fear and this worship. I don't know, for whatever reason. Maybe she has a god complex. Maybe it's just like what she wants from the world. But
the idea of this being possibly worse than what she's shown us is crazy.
Well, I think the reason for me is like, and maybe I'm overthinking it, but like the level of the drawings that we're seeing that apparently come from Iris doesn't match the Iris that we're being shown.
Sure.
Which probably is just something that I'm completely blowing out. I don't know. To me, it seems really overly forced and almost like authoritarian, of like, you know, you will submit, you will obey, you will do as I say. And I just don't believe any of it. I believe bits and pieces happened. I believe that she was a Canadian kid and that, like, you know, stuff happened, but I don't think it was done the way that she's portraying. So yeah, interested to see where we go from here. I feel like, I know we talk about it a lot on the show, and I really don't want this to be the case, but I feel like there may be wasted potential. So far, it feels like.
Oh no! This is the first episode, man.
No, I'm not the one who said it.
I'm not saying that there is. What I'm saying is, and again, this may be something like I need to reflect on and something I need to look on going forward with the pod and everything, but like the level of kind of praise that this game has got and the level of hype that I've been subjected to about this game going into it is maybe why I'm feeling a little bit deflated, like, on this leg.
Yeah. I I really hope that it's like Kai with Expedition. He's like, at the beginning, he's like, what is this game about? What is this? And we're like, oh, just wait. And then that thing happens. I hope that's the case.
That was my question was not, oh, what is this game about? My question is, oh, this fighting mechanic is boring and repetitive.
Sure. But more so that there is an aspect that
I know what the game's about.
that later on is very hooking, and the reason why people love the game is because events in the future. Okay. So similar situation. Maybe that's the case here.
And like I said, I'm at the minute, I'm enjoying my time, and I'm curious enough that I'm interested to keep going.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's not all doom and gloom. This isn't another Super Mario RPG moment. Like,
you're still genuinely curious of these things enough to keep playing through things that you might not necessarily love.
Yeah, for sure.
Lot.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, interested to see where we go.
Yeah. Kai, kind of summation of your initial thoughts here, and then kind of any high level thoughts you have going into the next episode.
Yeah, I think my problem with this game is not necessarily the themes that it's tackling. Like, I think sure. there's rich, it's a rich mine of things that you can, pull from. I just think it's not so far a very interesting game itself. Like, it's an experience, and don't get me wrong, there's value in that, and I've played games obviously where it's like more experiential versus like actually being like a game mechanic, but it's just like I'm not having a ton of fun, and it has nothing to do with like I know you keep saying like, oh, there's so much expectation. I didn't really have that much expectation. I mean, people said it's good, but I hate things that people say are good all the time.
That's true. You automatically don't.
My MO is like, okay, fucking great. Like, I hate some of the most beloved games of all time. Like, it's not, I don't have a problem saying my opinion, whether it's popular or not. I just don't, I'm not enjoying it. I get what it's trying to do, and my name on this episode, I always name myself ridiculous things, but it's like I'm 14 and this is deep, and that's kind of what it feels like. It's kind of like, it's like what people think deep things should be, which is like very like abstract and like, ooh, there's so many things going on, but it's like, what is it really saying?
Sure.
So far, what am I getting from this? What have I learned? There's a terrible person who does terrible things, and they're an asshole.
Yeah.
That's not an interesting narrative. Like, that's like, I'm sorry. That's just not, it's not interesting. Like the world, I guess, is interesting. I mean, it's very closely tied to COVID, obviously, which is like, okay, cool. But like, I'm not learning anything I don't know. I'm not being awakened to someone's perspective or seeing someone for something that they're not, or, it's just it's trying to not be surface level, but only achieving surface level things so far. Now, maybe we're doing a lot of world building right now, and they're going to start unraveling that world in ways that I can't currently imagine. And I will be happily proven wrong, and I will understand why everyone loved this game so much. But as of right now, as far as a total experience, the gameplay, I don't find that interesting. The voice acting and writing, I think, are pretty subpar to a lot of things that we've played in this space. Things like What Remains of Edith Finch, which are similar in some ways, but I think much more well done and much more gripping, at least from like the first sections of those games. I don't find the art style that compelling. Once again, like, the environmental design is very nascent and basic and amateurish in a way that is detractive from the overall experience. I'm struggling to see where this is going to go. That's going to
the vision.
What could, because even if the narrative blows me out of the fucking water, there are so many like little things that are just like little thorns that you have to go through to play the game, where it's like, it doesn't look very good, and the mechanics are kind of stupid and clunky, and you have to hit the back button 40 times, and it's just like it needs more polish. It needed like, this is a great game demo that maybe should have like gone through some more iterative processes that made it a better experience to play. But that's how I'm feeling now. I'm sorry for those of you who love this game. I know that you're going to be like, you're not getting the deep meaning, and like, I'm trying, man.
And honestly, please let us know, because we had this game framed as like, sometimes it's a very specific experience and viewpoint where maybe some of us, like us being who we are on this podcast, might not see. So please, if there's a perspective that we're missing, like, let us know, because I would love to see other people's point of view and things that we have maybe missed, because we're not directly connected to a lot of these themes personally that we are going through. But
that was wild.
That was a crazy whistle.
What?
There was like a you said a word, and I don't know if your mic just didn't like the way that your mouth made the word, but it literally like did feedback. I'm sure it's recorded, but it was
yeah, I'll have to go back and listen to it. That's crazy.
It was wild. Yeah. Let me know. Let me know what I'm missing. And I'm not an Asian woman, so maybe that's it.
If he was,
would hit for sure. He'd be loving himself. Oh, I'd hit, and then you said he was loving himself.
I mean, both of those things. One of those things is definitely true. The other thing, that's not up to me.
You're a beautiful man.
Thank you.
I struggle with this because in this like 5 years, I feel like we've refined how we talk about video games, and I feel like I'm the one on the podcast here that just has like mush baby brain that's like, oh, I just take things at face value and surface value and like think everything's a good time. So I kind of have a little bit of just like insecurity with that, where I feel like I'm missing a lot of these like big points that you guys are telling me, because I was like, oh yeah, I had a good time. Like I thought the points were interesting, and I thought the deep stuff was deep, but
that's fine.
Nothing wrong with that, bro.
Yeah, you can like it.
Right. No, I know, but I don't want to miss things like you're talking. But that's why I like doing this too, because I get to see some of these things and have a little bit of different perspective where I'm not as critical on some things. I think I just don't go in with that lens, and having that lens is perfectly fine. And I almost say I like having that here because we can have this differing viewpoint and differing opinion on this too, which I really like. But I did struggle with some of the gameplay stuff for sure. I think having experienced some things and liked other things that didn't hinder it too much. I like the visual representation of it. You know, there's a lot of stark contrast between like the garden and like the water stuff. Not even like intentionally where they're supposed to represent things, just like on a technical level. Like the ray tracing in that is like wild compared to kind of the stuff we see inside. And maybe that's just directly revolved in like the water that they have, but there's a big kind of discrepancy between those two visual styles that I feel like creates some friction. But no, the mystery behind this world, the characters, I love the history with the mother and the whole idea of generational trauma, and I think all those are really interesting points. And again, doesn't justify Iris's actions, but I love seeing kind of like peeling back the layers on some of these characters and the history. And I think Ben pointed it out well, where I think as teenagers we don't really think about our parents existing as humans. They're just parents. And then as we get older, like even now, I'm just like, as you go through life as an adult, you're like, oh shit, my mom went through this and my dad went through these things. You kind of have a different lens on your own parents' experiences, and it'd be cool to kind of like recontextualize that here, right? I mean, maybe they fumbled the bag at the beginning, but if Iris can somehow see like, as she's quote unquote older, her parents' experiences and how justified they were, and kind of have that turnaround moment, she's still a terrible person just through and through at this moment. But that would be cool to see that turnaround. Theories going forward, I like Ben's theory. The whole like none of this actually happened theory, I always love in a media, of just kind of like showing one thing and completely subverting the expectation, or at least the context. Like we see that stab happen, but it just like, it's a nothing burger, and Iris comes out of a frame and it's just like her dead self, but she has a perfectly well alive self, and it's like a version of her clone, right? Where you don't have the full context of the situation. I like that idea too, of how, you know, we're not seeing the whole picture. It is interesting that we have, like Kai said, this idea of the narrative of Iris bad and we need to stop Iris. And that's kind of already, not that we got any conclusion here, but almost, right? Our main character is kind of already at that precipice of being like, oh, what I thought isn't real. ALLMOTHER is bad. But that's happening a lot at the beginning. So I'm really curious to see where the narrative goes down the line and see how they kind of subvert that idea of what we thought this narrative was going to be about.
But I think it's interesting as well because, like, yes, see the vibe I got was like, yes, Watcher thinks Iris bad.
Yeah,
I didn't get the impression that she's trying to stop her. It was the impression of like, Iris is bad, but like she is still ALLMOTHER. I still like worship her, and I still like
I think at the end of this, she's more conflicted of what to do rather than like she's trying to stop ALLMOTHER. At this point, she's like, again, we don't know if she turns in healer or not, right? We get to learn that going into the next couple chapters. But at the end of this, she's at least like more conflicted than she was with Fixer on what to do because she's seeing a lot of the context around the memories of ALLMOTHER. And I'm assuming this is the first time she's seen her sister be incinerated. So like seeing Fixer die, even if it was via 9-year-old drawings, is something that she now has to take into context with turning in another individual.
I think it's interesting because the blind devotion is starting to waver a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so it'd be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. But how did you feel about 1000xRESIST? Whether you've played it before, whether you're playing along with the podcast, would love to hear your thoughts. Again, tell us your experiences. Tell us if we're missing anything. I would love to hear different perspectives. Again, Instagram and Blue Sky, you can reach us there. Or if you want to join the book club, you can jump into our Discord. We're going to have a specific section for all book club stuff where we can talk about the games and everything. So you can join more people in the conversation around 1000xRESIST, because I feel after this episode, we're going to have a lot of conversations, good and bad, regardless of people that have played this, really interested in hearing our thoughts, as we're going through the narrative experience, which is good. I feel like is the whole reason why I like this podcast is we can kind of put little pins in different points of the narrative and track how we're feeling throughout the entirety of the experience, which is always a good time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But I think that's all we have for this episode. Gentlemen, anything else about 1000xRESIST you want to say before we bounce out of here?
No.
See you on the next one.
See you in the next one. Yeah, so in the next section of 1000xRESIST, we're going to be playing through just chapters 4 and 5. So just going through those 2 chapters. I'm excited to see how this lays out. Again, Emily, shout out to her from No Small Games, kind of broke this game down in cool cliffhanger moments. And we kind of already see that with chapter 3.
That actually worked perfect.
Yeah, so it worked well. So I'm really curious to see how 4 and 5 end and to get more context on the situation that happens. In next week's episode, again, is going to be that Get Wrecked with me and Chazzy. Don't know what we're playing yet, but we're going to be playing and talking about games. So you at least know we're playing a random 2001 PC game that looks interesting. So if anything, be excited for that. But with that, thank you all for listening. Thanks for getting to the end of the episode as always and supporting the show. And we will see you next week. Peace out, everybody.
Bye.